Today you'll be making a mobile inspired by Alexander Calder, and you'll be using paper, glue, pencil, and armature wire. But first, I want to talk about the difference between shape and form. A shape only has width and height, where a form has depth. In this particular picture here, you can definitely see with the level of shading to see the difference between the 2D and 3D shape and form. So here's an example of one of Alexander Calder's mobiles. Notice the use of color, line, and especially balance. So this would be a great project for utilizing science and physics. You will need a variety of colored papers, particularly 2 sheets at a time, because you'll need to make the paper a little bit more thick in order to make the paper not bend while it's on the mobile. So I would draw a variety of shapes. If you would like to do a specific type of shape for your mobile, that's okay. I'm just going to choose some organic and geometric shapes. So for yellow, I did organic shape because it has wavy lines. I'm going to do a geometric triangle on the red paper. Once you've drawn out your shape, you could either fold it in half, but in this case, I'm just going to layer 2 sheets because it's a fairly large shape. Also vary your sizes and have plenty of shapes. I wouldn't have more than 10, but definitely not under 3. So by holding the 2 pieces of paper together, I can cut out that shape and get the double size that I need that I'll glue together later. When I place glue on a piece of paper, I typically will leave about the width of my pinky from the edge to the inside, just to leave a little bit of space for the glue to spread out. Then I'll lay the other piece on top and smooth from the middle and out. I'll pick it up just in case there's any glue that comes out, and I'll smooth that down. Make sure my edges and corners are staying together. If they are not, don't be afraid to add a little bit more glue, but not too much. Continue to glue together the rest of your shapes to get the thicker paper, and then leave those off to the side to dry while you create the rest of your armature for your mobile. So you're going to need wire and a wire cutter with needle nose pliers. So needle nose are great because you have that wire cutter that's typically built right in, but the needle nose helps you make kind of these loop designs that you need for connecting your wire together. So I'm going to start with probably about the length of my forearm to my hand. I'm going to cut that with the wire cutter part. I'm going to bend it in half, and where it's bent in half, I'm going to create a little loop. So I'm just going to hold it with my non-dominant hand and twist, and that will create a nice spot for this top of my mobile. Just kind of straightening up my wire, and then the tips I'm going to make a J, and I'll show you in a little close-up in a second what that looks like. When taking your wire, take the tips of the needle nose or even your finger and just bend upwards. And that will create the J shape that you need to hook on to add additional wire. I'm going to take additional wire that's a little bit smaller, and I'm going to make some more twisted loops to add onto one side of my mobile. So in this case, I'm going to add to the right. I'm going to put that loop through my J, and then with my pliers, or even your fingers, squeeze it shut, and that will hold that upside down V in place. Sometimes you need to twist it a little bit to make it a little bit more secure. Then I'll cut some more, and I'll add to the left side, and then I might add a few more to the right side. Be aware, just like with Alexander Calder's when you saw in the examples, not only does this have to be physically balanced, so that way it's not too heavy on one side, you also want to keep in mind that it should be visually balanced, but have variety. So does it need to be a symmetrical design or the same on either side, the same shape, same colors in equal amounts that mirror one another? Or is it going to be asymmetrical, but it's still physically balanced so that way it is not laying too much on one side to the other? What's wonderful with mobiles is that they are kinetic. Kinetic means that they move. They can move with the motion of you touching it or a breeze going by, and your artwork will always be changing with your kinetic design. As you can see, I'm testing it out before I add any shapes to see how the wire is interacting with one another, how it's balanced, to see how it moves. Do I want it to move a lot? Do I want it to move a little? That is up to you. You are the artist, you are the creator. That will change its form. Once you've decided how many shapes that you need, you can start adding your colored shapes to your little J's. So hopefully by now you've had your pieces, your colored paper pieces dry, and I'm just going to take a sharp pencil and gently twist to make a small hole. I will put the wire through that hole and I will pinch it shut just with my fingers. If it's too hard, use a needle nose. Careful not to rip the paper in this process. So next to my geometric red shape, I'm going to grab an organic yellow shape. I have one side. The great thing about wire is you can always adjust it. If you don't like how it's looking, you can bend it a little bit. As you can see with my design right now, visually I have two small shapes on the right side and one large shape on the left side. So I'm going to add two smaller shapes in the middle to have it visually balanced. This is referred to as an asymmetrical design. So it's not the same on either side, but will still feel visually balanced by not having too little or too much going on one side. I'm still going to alternate colors just to keep it interesting. If you want to have more than two colors, that's okay. I just chose to have two. So continuing with my J shapes, adding little V's, punching my holes. Once you have put all of the pieces together, you have a wonderful kinetic mobile inspired by Alexander Calder. Feel free to hang these up in your room, hang them in the hallway, share them with your friends. See how they move. Hope you enjoy.